Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Hey, welcome to Talkin Van Halen on Twitch, the weekly EVH show, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. And here we are today. We have Kurt 5150, of course. Hey, man.
Hello, guys.
Good to see you.
You.
And Kurt, who do we have here?
Oh, man. We have the author of the new book, friend and confidant of Eddie Van Halen, Mr. Steve Rosen, rock and roll journalist.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Voguing.
Hey, man.
Hey, guys.
Great
Good
to see you again, man.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Kurt, we've spoken before, haven't we?
Yeah, we were on the show about, 3 weeks ago? Rob and I and Johnny?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
The YouTube version of this.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Rob was showing me all his little toys.
Yeah.
He sent me a little video. That was insane. That was unbelievable. Remind me not to get mad at that dude.
Yeah. Oh. I had the pleasure of going and visiting him back in early November, and everything's legit.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Yeah,
Incredible.
he loves the A-team. Put it that way.
He is the A-team. A, B, and C team.
Yeah.
Well, hey, speaking of the A-team, we're live here on Twitch on Wednesdays, but this is also an uploaded video on Thursdays. So on YouTube, we have channel members, and the top tier are Dave Ennis, Final Freak 5150, Mike Neese, Music Therapy Laz, Majestic PB&J Cat, Wayno, False Flag, Sherman Callahan, Andy Carson, Michael B. Arhabs, I think that says Warlag, The Chad, Lawrence Christensen, Lenny Lou and Mary, James Gum, John Moronic, Paul Martin Wood, Stephen Franklin, Michael Smith the Captain, Thomas Santiago, Joe Christian, Jeremy Hawkins, David Allenwright, and Steve Carmichael.
All right.
Those are the executive producers on YouTube, which, again, this is an upload on Thursdays on YouTube. So drop some comments below, smash those thumbs ups.
That's right.
And look at this. We got a bunch of people here on Twitch. This show's growing, man.
Yeah, you want me to read off a couple names?
Cool. Sure.
We have my buddy, Gunner 5150, who sent Johnny a EVH Gunner strap. What's up, man? Good to see you.
Hey, dude.
He's working on making a few others, so more to come on that, which will be cool.
Nice.
Paulie Walnuts. What's up, Paulie?
Paulie.
We got C-Dub 5150. What's going on?
Hey, man.
I think that's the Chad, maybe.
Might be.
Yeah. Trev Stream. What's up, Trev? Good to see you. Robert Ranford. Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining. Kai Matthews. Hey, Kai. Uncle Leo. What's up, Uncle? Can't wait to see you at the family reunion. Fairfield Guitars. That's who is making the straps. Man, this other guy, I think he's trying to steal his handle. Sorry, Lewis. SSAF 5150 and more.
Yes. Great to see everybody. This is awesome. This is
nice.
Awesome.
Everyone's handle's different on this than Instagram and YouTube. It's kind of hard to tell who's who. Cobra Kai Platoon coming in late as well.
Hey, Cobra Kai. Hey, Dan Tana. Yeah, it's like what I was telling Steve the other day. It's like branding. Branding is very important. You want to keep everything the same. So, yeah, look at this. Well, hey, Steve. man, I mean,
Johnny.
uh, we're very excited about your new book coming out. We can't wait. Can't wait to read it. I mean, you know, I keep saying this, but I grew up on so many of your interviews and articles on Edward, and this is just I mean, this is just such this is just amazing. You know, after all these years to get I guess new and old, you know, content, you know,
Yeah.
from you and it's very. I mean, I'm sure Kurt can say the same thing. It's
Yeah,
just it's awesome.
I would have to say, Johnny, you know, I'm a bookworm. I've read every book out about Van Halen or Eddie Van Halen,
Yeah.
a handful of them multiple times. I mean, I'm talking 2 or 3. And some of the content can get a little redundant, which I'm okay with because, Steve, some authors have different ways of spinning things. But just hearing your interviews, talking to you last time, I know that you have special content that other people don't. And, you've had those late night visits, late night phone calls, trips, hotel room conversations that you recorded. And a lot of them weren't for a magazine. You know, they were literally just you two guys shooting the breeze. And I'm excited. The 500-page thing doesn't scare me at all. If you would have said it was 700 pages, I would have been more excited. So this is going to be an epic moment for sure.
You bring up a lot of interesting points, Kurt. I think I posted on a couple sites, but maybe everybody doesn't know. So originally the book was going to be 6x9, which is pretty much the standard. If you, Kurt, you've probably read, 50 books that are 6x9.
Yeah.
That's the standard size, music biographies. So, we were putting that together, and my printer, this guy, Robert Smith, who turns out is a monster Van Halen fan. He's also done books. He's done some heavy stuff. Done some Taylor Swift books and Metallica. I mean, some pretty heavy stuff. And he somehow, I mean, he didn't know me, but he had read some of my stuff as well. And sort of when I approached him about the book, he was like, "Oh my God, we have to do this." I mean, I was just blown away by that. So probably, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, we had a conversation, and he said, "Look, man, the book can't be a 6x9." He said, that many pages, the book, and Kurt, you're probably the only person here who's not, daunted by the height of the book. It's going to be like 3 inches high. It's going to look like a dictionary. When a book is that thick and you open it up, over time the spine gets weird and it can crack and break, and that's the last thing I wanted to happen. So he suggested a 7x10. I thought, wow, that's great. So the book is now going to be a 7x10, which will reduce it to about 350 pages because the pages are bigger and hence more text can fit on the page. Everything is exactly the same. I mean, it's every word. Nothing has been deleted. So it's a little bit oversized. The photos, which are all black and white, which I consciously did. Honestly, if you were buying the book for the photos, it's probably not the book for you. I think there's some really interesting photos in there. And, the photo that we're going to show in a little bit here of Ed and I with the guitar buddies, that's one of the photos. That's from my collection. But it's not like you're going to find, 15 unpublished live shots of Ed. It's just not that kind of book. So the photos are going to be in black and white. And because of the bigger format, the photos will also, look a lot better. You had also mentioned, Kurt, about the book and the stories old and new. So there are interviews in the book that some of you may have read before. I do go into a fair amount of detail for the 3 Guitar World covers. But what you didn't read in those original versions were kind of the redacted parts, the parts that I consciously left out, all the sort of, just banter back and forth. So while those interviews have been published, never in this forum. And I've also, I've explained before how I am sort of the participant and the observer. So as a participant, I'm that guy sitting there with Edward, 40 years ago, whatever it is. And as the observer, I'm looking at this guy sitting in this little, Hollywood Hills guest house, next to this guy, Edward Van Halen. And, what was Ed thinking about? And what was his tone of voice? And was he in a good mood that day? And how many cigarettes was he smoking? And, how was he holding the guitar? So, so it's kind of a combination of old and new, and combination of kind of then and now. I think the book is extraordinarily unique. I have never read a biography like that, and I've read a lot of biographies like you, Kurt. Man, I think it was going to appeal to people, and they're going to sort of be able to see these unexpurgated versions of the interviews. And man, I mean, I'm hoping people are really going to love the book.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. I can't tell you. I guess I can tell you how many times I read. The Life and Times one, July '85, Guitar World. I read that one a billion times, and then there was the article, the interview where you guys went to NAMM. I guess it was maybe a summer NAMM, like '85.
The New Orleans show.
New Orleans. That one's always like stuck in my head. That I've always envisioned. You showing up, or you calling over there and them not answering, then you get nervous and you calling back, and then driving over there, and you're waiting in the kitchen, all that. I mean, such great stuff.
The first thing, I call him on the phone and goes, "Where are you?" I go, "Where am I, you shithead? I've been trying to contact you for the last 45 minutes. I didn't say that to him, of course, but I was thinking it. Another little clue for you all: the walrus was Paul. I also look at that story and fill in some of those holes, and that was a fun time. It's really funny, man, because you guys talk about reading my stories and stuff. I've written, I don't know. I don't know how many stories I've written and had published. I mean, 1,000. I mean, I don't know. I mean, many, many stories. And every time I sit down to write a story, it's a very solitary thing. I'm sitting there, back in the day on a typewriter, and then an electric typewriter, and then a computer, and you write this, you're writing this stuff, and you get done with a story and you staple the pages together. And back in the day, you'd mail them off to the magazine, all those Guitar World stories. Or maybe the last one by 85. I didn't have a computer in 85. No way. I was really late to the game. So all these hard copies, and I don't even have copies. I mean, I never made carbons, which makes me a little insane. But
wow.
So you send these stories off, and then it's kind of like you're done. It's like, well, okay, now the magazine has it, and they're going to put it in there, and they're going to put the graphics to it. And honestly, and I've never heard another writer say this, and maybe they feel this way, and maybe none of them do, and maybe I'm the only one. I don't know. But I always wondered, is anybody going to read that story? When I did those Van Halen covers, I thought, is anybody going to buy the magazine And if they do, are they going to sit down and read that story? It was a process I just could not envision it. I mean, I'm a pretty prolific book reader. I mean, I've read so many books, and, I mean, I can sort of, not that I can understand what John Steinbeck did or guys at that level, but, uh, reading their book just seemed like the natural thing. I can't imagine John Steinbeck would think, oh, is anybody going to read my, East of Eden story? I mean, it's like, but to make a long story short, I just never could make that connection between sitting there writing the story for days and days and days, and the case of the book for 14 months, and wondering, is somebody really going to read it? I mean, I knew somebody would read it, but then you think, how many people are going to read it, or is the magazine not going to sell any of those issues? I mean, it's a weird thing.
So
So when I see these PayPal things come in, or the comments, people send messages, or you guys, hey man, I read I read that Guitar World story 3 times, and your New Orleans. I mean, I can't emphasize enough. I mean, to me, that's the reason I became a writer, man. Honestly, I wanted to touch somebody. I wanted to think that, my God, my magazine is lying on your coffee table, and you're going to pick it up, next time you go into the bathroom, and, if you're a business. I mean, to me,
I've got it. I've got it sitting right over here. I should grab it.
That's fantastic. I mean, and a book is just that feeling multiplied by 1,000. So it's like, as much as everybody else wants the book out, I think I probably want it out worse than anybody. It's like the waiting period, kind of the book is basically done. Even though, as I mentioned before we went on air, Kurt, I have gone back and, tweaked things and adding commas, and, there it is.
I got that one too.
So I bought this one.
Yeah.
This isn't the original one that I had. When I first originally got this this magazine, because see, I didn't get into Van Halen till late '85, early '86, somewhere. So when I first got this, I ordered it as a back issue from Guitar World. I remember. So I'm not sure what my original one was. Oh, and that was in 86, 87 somewhere. So it was only a year, 2 years later. But this one I bought from a memorabilia shop. And,
really?
And it's autographed. I mean, it looks legit to me. I mean, I don't know if it's actually, I mean, who knows? But
yeah.
If I were to look at that.
I mean, did you pay an amount of money commensurate with the autograph?
I probably did.
I mean, you don't have to say.
I probably did.
Okay, then I'll bet you it's real. You know what? I mean, that makes me feel amazing that he would even sign it. And you want to know this strange thing? I'll bet you whatever you paid for that magazine, that when he signed it, he didn't know who wrote the story.
Huh.
Wow.
That was one of the things about him, and I talk about that in the book. And it was a strange thing. His short-term memory was, I mean, really short. And I don't know, because his head was always filled with music. I have a couple of the theories, and I'll save those, and you can read about them in the book. But there were moments when it was a little uncomfortable that he didn't remember stuff, and yeah, and even a little hurtful, if we're really being honest. And I write about that in the book. And yeah, that was some of the heavier stuff. Yeah.
One of the things too, Steve, kind of going back to what you were talking about earlier with the magazines. I'm only 44 years old. Johnny's 29. But back then, we didn't have the internet where we can scour videos, any article. Nowadays everything's right at our fingertips, where if you want to learn something about, Edward Van Halen, you can spend hours and hours and hours on the internet reading. Well, back then we took anything we could get. So I told a story in a few shows back that I used to go to the grocery store with my mom once a month just to check out the magazine section to see if there was anything new as far as Van Halen goes. And I would sneak it into the shopping cart. Of course, she would buy it for me because she loved me. But that's how you got information back then, other than like MTV, which was, you had to sit in front of a television and catch it. So it was a very pivotal time for us where we took whatever we can get and we would read those articles over and over and over because it was new information, stuff we wanted to hear more about. That's why I love the books as well, because I just like absorbing that stuff.
That's such a great story. I mean, I was really lucky to have started my journalism career when I did, like 73. Obviously there was no internet, there was nothing. And those stories that I was writing for Guitar Player, I mean, I've heard it a lot of times. The Jimmy Page cover that I did, I mean, guys would come to me and said, my God, we never knew anything that he did, and he's talking about his amps. And, I mean, I had no sense of that at all when I was writing the interview. I had no sense of that at all when I was doing those Van Halen interviews years later. I mean, honestly, if I had thought about, well, dude, all these people are counting on you to like get all this stuff out of Ed, and you better make sure you talk about what kind of, frets he's using and this and that. I mean, I probably would have been so daunted. I probably couldn't have asked him anything. So, I mean, it just never crossed my mind. The only thing that I was thinking about was, I mean, I have my questions, I have my typewritten questions. And it was covering the obvious stuff if there was a new record out, and beyond that, man, it was just it was just kind of talking to him. And honestly, and I also talk about this in the book, Edward, as much as he says he despised doing interviews, and he did, I could see that a lot. And even in interviews, that appeared in bigger magazines and with bigger writers, I could see instantly, and maybe you guys could too, because you've read so much, and you touched on it earlier, Kurt, about kind of recycling the same kind of, writers would recycle the same information. Well, that's because Edward was giving them the same responses, and that's because Edward was burned out and didn't want to talk anymore. I mean, I could spot it in an instant. My point being, on the other side of that, I really think Ed, and I don't know why, when I was talking to him, man, he filled in so many holes, and I'm there and I'm looking, and even deeper into our friendship, I mean, I'd stumble over a question, or it's like, I get locked and, oh fuck, what's that next question? And you always try to stay one question ahead. At the same time, obviously listen to what the person is saying so you can respond to that. There are times, man, you just lose it. You lose the thread, and it's like silence. And Ed would come in with something, man, or he'd start talking, and he did it so many times. I can't even tell you. And I talk about that in the book. I found that fascinating. Yeah, so, to hear you guys rereading that stuff, and, somebody here said Steve Rosen was our internet. I mean, to me, that is so gratifying. I can't even begin to tell you. I mean, that's like, that's the greatest. That is just the greatest to me, so.
Yeah. And I heard a lot of people say that, talking to Eddie about cars or golf, other things outside of, handguns, things outside of his music, he really enjoyed talking about. I don't know if you had that experience with him where you guys talked other things outside of music, if that kept him engaged.
We did. I mean, I don't know shit about cars, and I wish I did. I would talk to him about his Lamborghinis and Miuras. I tried golfing one time, and I dug up the grass so bad they wouldn't let me on the course anymore. I've never been a gun guy. Actually, my brother's the one who should have talked to Ed. My brother knows everything about cars and everything about guns. But
Wow.
in these Twilight tapes that I've mentioned, which were basically these very late night phone calls that Ed would make, we got into some just amazing stuff. And it had nothing to do with music. And those were some of the most, I don't know, man, insightful and deep and passionate conversations we ever had. And I know when people read that stuff, that's going to blow people away. I mean, it blew me away, listening to these tapes again, which I hadn't listened to since the day they were recorded. I mean, they're fantastic. But what you say is true. For him, then it was just a conversation, talking about his cars and, that kind of thing. Talking about his music, man, there was that fine line, and I may have mentioned it before. And again, I hate to keep referencing the book, but I explore all this in the book in much more detail. But, asking Ed about, well, Ed, what kind of body was that? And Charvel, what's Charvel, Ed? Back when nobody really knew what Charvel was. And, well, you painted your own guitars. And so, Ed, how do you wind your strings? And actually, a lot of that stuff he tried to keep secret. But the truth is, I mean, he could have told you exactly how he wound his strings, and your guitar was still going to go out of tune, right? But I mean, he just that stuff wasn't important to him. Talking about the guitars and the kind of strings he used, the songwriting he would get into a little bit, but again, if you went too deep or you talked about an arrangement or something, he'd just kind of say, yeah, well, it's just, what I thought sounded good. I mean, he never went deep on that stuff, at least not with me. So funny dude, funny guy.
Yeah. And a couple things in the chat.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Steve asked about the Circles guitar, if it was black or blue. So, Steve-O, we talked about that when we interviewed Steve last time with Rob.
Oh, we're the ones to talk about that?
Yeah, he didn't remember if it was black or blue. The other one was Leo asked, he heard Eddie had a subscription to all the guitar magazines and had them delivered to his house and also delivered to him on the road. Do you know if that was legit, or did you see him with the guitar magazines, stacked up?
I honestly, I mean, I can't imagine. I never saw a magazine, not only a guitar magazine, I never saw a magazine. I never saw a book. Not that I would, not that there'd be books out in the studio, but, I never saw a book. I never saw a magazine. I never saw him talking about, hey, man, I read this. And like I said, honestly, I don't think he ever read one of my stories. And I tell about, there's a little story I talk about in the book that's pretty incredible. But Johnny, like I said, I don't think he remembered that I had interviewed him for the stories. He did. It's not that he was consciously being rude. That's not who he was at all. He just didn't remember. And for Ed, that just wasn't, that wasn't a priority up there with, working out the riffs on the next song for the next album, or, tweaking the gear in the studio, and things that I thought were really important. I mean, critically important on some levels. He never even remembered them. He never referenced them. And
the stories?
When I brought them up, he looked at me like, what are you talking about? And I never pursued that. And again, that stuff gets a little heavy, but I can't imagine Ed having subscriptions to guitar magazines. I honestly can't. Yeah. That's a weird one.
I think we know him as guy with blinders, always moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, with Ed, it was his music and everybody else second. And I don't mean this in any disparaging kind of way. Even in his marriage, it was music first and wife second. Not that he consciously tried to do that. And I mean, I saw a little bit of that relationship between Edward and Valerie, and it was fantastic. When I was around them, Wolfie was another thing. Then it was Wolfie, and then the music.
Yeah.
And he talks about Wolfie in the book, and that's pretty remarkable too. So, yeah, he had blinders on constantly. Yeah.
Sorry, Johnny.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's cool. So going back to, let's say, let's go back to you. So let's say
Okay.
this magazine comes out. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say that comes out. Like, did you ever get like fan mail, like back in the day? Like, did people write to you, or were people, like, all these years, like now with the internet, it's different. Like, we've got these shows, you know, we have phones. Yeah. What was it like? Let's say this was coming out, or let's say, you know, when you started becoming known as, the Edward Van Halen, you know, biography or whatever.
Yeah. I love that question. And in fact, in that issue, I think, Johnny, is, and I reference it in the book as well. I think that's where I wrote an open letter on the letters page, because I was in the middle of working on the book, saying, hey, anybody who has, any Van Halen related memorabilia, let me know. I'm looking for pictures or posters. Yep.
That was
Halenites.
That was it.
Yep.
Right there.
That was it. And so my address is at the bottom. Obviously, this is pre-email.
Hope that's not still your
editor
address.
Said, it's an old address.
Okay, good.
But that's the address that Edward came to. Yeah, Weepaw Way. I love Weepaw Way.
Wow.
The editor said, do not do that. Don't put your address in a magazine. Writers never did that. You could never write to a writer. I know I had tried once. I tried to write to a writer, a guitar player, and I never heard a response. And that pissed me off so badly. I said, okay, fucker, I'm going to go out and I'm going to write for the magazine myself. So thanks for not getting back to me, dickhead. So I had literally, I want to say hundreds of letters. I answered every single one. I loved every moment of it. People writing, oh my God, we love your story. And, hey, here's a picture that I drew of Edward Van Halen, or they send me, some photograph they taken at a show or something, I returned everything, or hopefully I did. And yeah, man, I felt like a real writer, I felt like, my God, I've touched all these people. And what a fantastic thing. And maybe it's been on some of your podcasts, Johnny, that people have written in saying, yeah, Steve, I wrote you in 85 when, for the Guitar World story, and you wrote back to me and you were so nice and everything, and I thought, oh my God, that's just unbelievable. And some of these people still have my responses. For some reason, I wrote them on like little, like index cards. I don't know why I did that. But again, man, I responded to every single person. And I think and again, I don't know how many there were. I know that there were a lot. I think maybe one or two were nasty. No, why are you writing this book? And, you're just trying to cash in on him, or I don't remember what it was. And I'd like to think I responded in a genteel fashion getting back to them, but I might have said, fuck you, shithead, go out and write your own book then, No, I wouldn't have said that. I probably wouldn't have responded at all. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty incredible. I'm really happy I did that. Um, you know, unfortunately, that book, as we all know, never saw the light of day, and that's a shame. But it did turn into this book.
Yeah.
And I said before, this book, in many ways, is a far more honest and open look at Ed, and you know, contains a lot of stuff that wouldn't have gone in that original book. So yeah, things
Well,
happen for a
Steve,
reason. Maybe, I'm not sure.
we're here to promote your book. So we got 25 people watching, and then there's going to be a lot more on YouTube. Johnny has a banner down below. So if you copy that link or type it into your browser on Facebook, there's a link to Steve's PayPal and instructions on friends and family to purchase the book. And
Yeah.
Steve, anything else you
Yeah,
want to
man,
say on
exactly.
how to pre-purchase the book? I know Johnny and I have been promoting it for the last month, but we're here to get that thing going and get more copies sold for you.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, man. There's the Don't Chase Your Book is the name of my Facebook site. So go there, and then you'll see like a little website address, and click on that, and it will take you to the PayPal link. And it's pretty simple. If we're going to talk economics here, if you're in the U.S., and I'm assuming everybody here are probably U.S. residents, it's $35 for the book and $12 for shipping. And if you could please send it as family and friends, and that means you actually need to click in PayPal on a little link that says, I think it says send as family and friends. You can't just write it as a note. It's a special link. And if you could do that, that would be great. Actually, before we came on air here, I was telling Johnny and Kurt that, in fact, just today, I've actually added some more text to the book. There's going to be 3 other sort of chapters that are going to be, that are going to be really, really exceptional. I think you guys are going to love it. So basically, the book is being formatted by my art director, Daniel Gray, a very talented guy. He's worked on Neil Zlozauer's photo books. And you all know Neil as the greatest Van Halen photographer in the universe. So I'm hoping we can have everything formatted and sent to the printers. I'd like to say 2 weeks. It'll probably be 3 weeks. So at 3 weeks, where are we? 21. We're at the end of March. I thought I could begin shipping the book sort of by the end of April. That's not going to happen. The turnaround time for a book to be printed, and I had no idea. I thought it was like a week or 2 weeks. Can take anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. I guess only so many books can be printed at a time, no matter how big a press is. Mm-hmm. So realistically, if the printer has this book by April 1st, let's call it 8 weeks, April, May. So we're really talking June 1st.
I would say we're lucky if we get it in June.
Yeah, because then the books have to also be shipped to me, and he's back in Georgia, I think. So that could be a week. Some of you people may know about the NAMM show, National Association of Music and Merchandise, Music Merchants.
Merchants.
It's a big convention once a year where everybody who has anything to do with music convenes, and basically retailers come, and they can see the new line of Fender guitars and the new drum sets and amps and outboard gear and DJ stuff, microphones, et cetera, et cetera. I was hoping that I would have books in hand. I was thinking about actually doing a little thing at NAMM, getting a little booth and, trying to, get the book out there. I just don't know if the book is going to be ready. the NAMM show, which is actually normally in January, it would have been this past January because of COVID, is now June. I think it's 2nd or the 3rd. So I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how much in advance you'd have to, lock in your little booth kind of a thing. But that's disappointing. I really wanted to do that. I thought that could have been a blast. All these Van Halen people coming by, and so I don't know. Maybe maybe I can get the book soon enough to do that. Actually, I really don't need the book in hand. It would have been helpful. I could just kind of have little posters kind of thing, and kind of take orders, and maybe even if I could have one kind of a mock-up copy or kind of a semi-finished copy for people to look at. So it's still a possibility. And this printer is so into it that he kind of wants to, he wants to be there with me,
Wow.
and I mean, he's excited by it. So yeah, I don't think you ever really find that in a printer. I think a printer, takes your format, your stuff, and prints a book and sends it to you and says, good luck, buddy. But this guy is amazing. So yeah, so we'll see.
Wow.
So yeah, so check it out. Tone Chaser book. Go buy the book. Go tell your friends. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Thank you.
That'd be interesting about the NAMM show.
Yeah.
This NAMM will be very interesting because this will be the first time in a long time where they're combining the two. So Winter NAMM and Summer NAMM will be the same.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, this June. And
just up the antes for him, Johnny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. The past couple of years have been really weird, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But either way, yeah, I think doing something at the NAMM show is a good idea. Having the book.
I think it could be really cool. Yeah, I mean, I just think it'd be a lot of fun. I'd imagine there's, if there were ever rabid Van Halen fans anywhere, they're going to be at that freaking NAMM show, right?
I run into them. I see them there. Yeah, they're wild. But speaking of NAMM shows, really quickly though, and then we've got that photo we can show as well. What was it like going to NAMM with Edward? Was that the only time you went with him?
No, I had been there. There was New Orleans, and we talk about that in Tone Chaser, and maybe people have read that story in Guitar World. And if you have, I expand on that story. I went with him, and I can never remember the years, and I've tried to remember. I think I went with him 2 or 3 times. I think it was like 85 and 87, 85, 86 and 87. I think I drove down with him once or twice, and I write about it in the book, and it's hard for me to remember exactly. And I think I met him there once at the Kramer booth, and I write about that as well. In a broad answer to your question, Johnny, what was it like? I had been there, not with him, but I'd been there when Jeff Beck was there, Stevie Wonder. I mean, heavy guys, heavy cats,
Yeah.
And with Ed, it was like nobody else existed. I'd never seen anything like that, even for Jeff Beck. And between you and me, and I talk about in the book, Jeff was and is my favorite guitar player. I think he's the greatest who's ever lived. And before Van Halen fans get crazy on me, that doesn't mean that I still can't love Edward Van Halen. Okay,
take it easy, Kurt.
Trying to be transparent.
Hold me back.
Kurt, don't go sick and Rob on me.
I won't tell him. Your secrets.
You better not.
Hey, Rob.
Me.
Yeah, exactly. But it was it was unbelievable. I mean, it was so beyond a guitar player. This, and I use the word in my book, and I'll use it here. It was idolatry.
Wow.
It was unbelievable to see it. It was amazing. They were pretty amazing moments, actually. I don't think Edward dug it much. He never needed that, and we talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he didn't need it. He hated being at the Kramer booth, and I talk about that in the book.
What year was that, Steve?
It was 85 or 87. I think it was 87.
Okay.
There was the year that he gave that there was that contest from Guitar for the Practicing Musician. They did a contest, and my friend won that contest, and he won the guitar.
And you told me that was 87, right?
That was 85.
Or 85. Then I think when Ed was there really getting mobbed, was 87. I think it was at 85 as well, but I may have met him there for that one.
There's video.
So hard to remember.
There's video of that, of him at the booth trying to sign. They're trying to get him to sign stuff, and people are like handing him things. And
I know, and that's when he's got that's when a Kramer handler comes over and says, Ed will come back, right? Or something like that. At the end, Ed never came back. So I was there, and I know this is strange, and this is the last secret I'm going to give away. Not a secret. There's a moment where Ed kind of looks off the crowd, and either he kind of nods or says hello. I think that's when he saw me. I couldn't swear to that. I'm not in the video. I can't even remember if I was, so, but I talk about that in the book, and, so I'd like to think he was, if he didn't see me, he was looking for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which would never happen. So, but.
What's up, Steve O'Hawks? My son's in the chat, and his name's Steve. He's got a good name.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Nice.
I'd love to say I named him after you.
Maybe you did.
Who did you name him after?
My father-in-law, and actually Steven Tyler as well. I'm a big Aerosmith fan as well. So, little combination.
So Steven Tyler gets props and I don't. That's nice, Kurt.
I tried to give you props.
Thank you. Wow.
But Steve's a good name for sure.
Yeah. There's actually a little Aerosmith story in the book. It's
cool.
It's pretty unbelievable. Pretty unbelievable too. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So hey, let's show this photo, and anybody on Facebook, this is the profile image for Steve's Tone Chaser Book Facebook page, which that's what's scrolling at the bottom of the screen here. You can go and you can like that page, ask him all the questions you want about the book. It's where you can order the book.
Yeah.
Everything. So what's the story with this picture? A lot of people are like, us nerds are like, man, this is an amazing shot.
I know, and it's another one of those moments where, in the moment, I'm thinking, this is fun, but I have no sense that it's. I'm sorry, there's another Steve up there in the chat room who says, "Great name." That's pretty funny. So I'm thinking, this is fun, and it was my idea to hold the bodies.
Oh, cool.
But at no point did I think, oh, this is historic, or you guitar geeks out there are going to go insane when you see this. It was just the furthest thing from my mind. I thought, honestly, these bodies were just garbage.
Throwaways.
I thought, he had like 10,000 of these things, and let's pick these up. That'll be fun. So Glenn LaFerman took this photo. And as a teaser, excuse me, I will tell you that there are more photos from this session that are fantastic. I mean, I think it's a really kind of a little beautiful montage that gets put together. But yeah, I had no idea what the bodies were. And Ed, Ed was in his fashion. I mean, he was up for kind of goofy stuff like this. He never took it seriously. Um, and as sacrilegious as this might sound, I mean, he never took his guitars seriously in terms of he never like treated them with kid gloves. He never wiped out the strings, if he was practicing at home, and he never put them back in cases. Half the times they were left on the floor, in a guitar stand, maybe, spread across a chair. He just never looked at his instruments like that, even the very expensive ones. And we know about his Les Pauls, and that's a fantastic story I also have in the book. Cool. And how he kind of, dismantled those guitars and, took one on the road. And, yeah, so I remember.
Right.
Exactly. Unbelievable. I wanted to slap him. Say, dude, you don't deserve these. I'm going to take one.
So yeah. Steve, this was 83, correct?
Yes,
Johnny,
it was.
Okay.
And you guys can tell that's 83?
I can't even think now.
84, he had the bandana, but for some reason, I think this was pre-84.
It's the cover. This is an outtake from the Guitar World cover where he's holding the Flying V. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, he's holding the Flying V, and then the shot in the inside of the magazine is him holding, or he's wearing the body that Steve's holding there, the star body, and he's doing acting like he's playing that.
Okay.
Those are the published photos. And that magazine, I think, came out.
There is another.
Yeah,
sorry, Johnny, go ahead.
Yeah, that magazine came out, I want to say January 84.
That's my first Guitar World cover, correct? That's what you're talking about, the US Festival?
I think so.
Yeah, that's the first one. Yeah, that's 84.
One. It's this one right here.
Yeah, I have that magazine. Let me see if I can find it.
It's that one.
Yeah, that's the first one. That's the first story I ever wrote for Guitar World.
So that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and then if you open that, Kurt, if you open that up, the first photo in there, another Glenn LaFerme. Well, these are all Glenn LaFermans. And hey, Glenn, see, there's the pic right there. He's holding. So if I go in between the two, see, he's holding that body now, and he's doing that.
Yep.
Exactly. And so if that page extended further to the left, you'd see me.
Dang it. And Steve, that's one of the last times we saw that star guitar.
That's what I understand.
Yeah,
that's
that
so
was
weird, man.
The last published photo where we saw that guitar. You never saw it again after that. The one that you're holding.
We don't really technically know what the back looks like.
Yeah, right. I heard that too.
And you're looking right down at it. Can you remember?
Oh yeah, of course. I can't remember going to a NAMM show, but I can remember the back of his guitar. Right, yeah. Kurt.
And the other one that Ed's holding, the rude or weird shapes, is still hanging in 5150, and Wolfgang posed with some photos with it for an interview he did with Washington Post.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that
Is it the body, or is it an entire guitar now?
It's intact. Yeah, it's an entire guitar.
It's an entire guitar. EVH Gear at Fender, they rebuilt the guitar some years ago. So yeah, we've seen.
Chip.
Chip. I think Chip rebuilt it. They released a couple like Instagram videos. Do you remember this, Kurt? Like this was a while ago, a few years ago, of Eddie at 5150, and he's doing like the horse sound and the elephant like sounds.
Yep.
And it was only for like Instagram or Facebook and all that stuff, Twitter. But you could see that guitar like in the background, like hanging up. And then now, yeah, there was a Wolfgang Van Halen photo session where the guitar was on a stand along with a bunch of other guitars.
Yep. Which, I mean, we're really nerding out, but that type of stuff, Steve, is like what we just goo and gaga over,
Yeah, no, man. I think it's great to be that. I mean, I think it's fantastic to be that into it. I mean, it's, I mean, if a culture is going to grow up around any guitar player, how could it not have been Edward? You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
he was everything to everybody, I mean, he had so many sides to him,
Yeah.
I mean, if it was just guitar geeks that were into Edward, he wouldn't be a tenth of the, this icon that he was,
Right.
That's so cool.
Cool. So do you need a cup of coffee?
Cool, man. Yeah, man. I think I need another cup of coffee here. Actually, I'm drinking some tea here. Some tea. So yeah, so I think it's time to go get another cup of tea.
Awesome.
Another cuppa.
Awesome. Oh yeah, there it is. Oh yeah, there's like a recent photo of the guitar right there.
Oh wow.
Very cool. Nice.
Yeah. Any last words of promotion or soapbox on the book is yours.
I'm just really anxious to see it out there. I'm really anxious to see how people respond to it. I think I've, it's almost like creating a monster, and then it's like you can't control the monster. I mean, in the very best way. I mean, I know what your expectations are, and I write about this in the book, I mean, I wrote that book. I wrote that book for me. I wrote it for Edward and the fans. Without you guys, there's no book. I mean, I don't write in a vacuum. I don't think any writer does. And any writer who tells you, yeah, I just write for myself, it's like, that's bullshit. They say that because they can't go and get their story published or whatever. No artist creates in a vacuum. I don't believe that. If you're a musician, you don't create in your garage and that's all you want to do. I mean, that's my outlook on it. So, the end line keeps getting pushed further back because there's just so much to do. And, it's just like, I want to see it done, like these next 3 weeks or whatever. I'm hoping before it gets to the printer, will be like this interminable thing, it's like, I wanted the printer to know it's, that's like the second step. And the third one is, getting the book in my hand and getting it to you people. So it's just really hoping and believing that I meet your expectations and exceed them, because I know what they are. I mean, I can see it. I mean, I know what you guys are expecting, and it's the best book I could have written. I mean, I've never worked on anything harder in my life, and I'm not talking just about the length and the time. I'm just talking about every word and every page, and trying to bring this guy to life, and I wanted you to be there with him, and you know, jamming with him and inhaling his fucking cigarette smoke, and watching him drink and getting drunk, and let's be honest about it. I've talked about it before, getting high with them. And I got to tell you, those were fantastic moments. I mean, I loved every fucking second of it. And so I want everybody, I want all you guys to experience that. And for that reason, it was a hard book to write. I mean, I could have cheaped out. I could have put a book together that was, 95% my interviews. I could have tossed the interviews up there and written a few little bits and pieces. I could have had the book done in 2 months, and it would have been a piece of shit. And your response, Kurt, would have been, oh, well, I've kind of read this stuff before. And you know what I mean? It's like, to me, that would have been a dagger through the heart. I mean, at that point, it's like, why write anymore? So, that was about the furthest thing from my mind. So the long answer to your question, Kurt, I just want everybody to have the book in their hands and start reading it. And the dialogue I really want to have is after people have the book, and we can have discussions about the book. That will be unbelievable.
Yeah.
And unless I see 800 comments here, got your book sucks, you suck, and in which case I'll go find a cave in Australia or something. But short of that,
or go to McDonald's, go work at McDonald's like you were talking about.
Exactly. They probably wouldn't let me work at McDonald's after the book.
If you put your passion into it, if you put your passion into it, Steve, it's going to be everything we expect. So I
hope so, man. I mean, I'm
results.
I hope so. I mean, I know that the first page of a chapter called Godhead, and that title is really significant. Where that came from, and I talk about that in the book. But that first page, who was it? Somebody, I can't remember. It was on one of your podcasts. But they actually read that first. It's like 2 or 3 paragraphs, and it talks about being at the whiskey that night. And they go, "Oh man, that's you, man. We can tell your thing." And it's like, I mean, that made me feel so good, So at least for the first page, I'm cool,
Yeah.
But no, I believe you guys are gonna really love it, And
Well,
it will be everything and more than you hoped it would be. So
you don't become an author for major guitar magazines because you're shitty at writing. So there's a reason why you've done all these write-ups, and this is going to be great. Give yourself some credit.
Yeah, man, I do. I give myself credit for writing it, honestly. Because I know some of you guys that said, "Man, write the book," and I just couldn't do it. I thought, there's no way I can write it. There's too much to write. I don't have enough to write. It'll take too much time, So, and I talk about that in the book as well, how I kind of had to sneak up on it, and write a little bit when my cat would wake me up in the horrible early morning hours, and But yeah, man, I'm proud of it. I mean, it's everything that I knew as a music journalist, and being a sympathetic ear, and I kind of tried to bring that together, and hopefully that's what Tone Chaser is.
Nice.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, thank you again for having me.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much.
We'll talk to you soon.
There you go. There you go. All right, I'll be in touch with you, man.
All right, bye. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye-bye.
See you guys. Bye.
Awesome. I can't wait to read this book.
Man, he's humble.
Yeah. He's awesome. He's awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Let me see. Where am I? Oh well, I like to change these backgrounds, but I've got so many of them. I can't even. No, that's the other one. Oh well. Thank you so much, everybody. What? We'll see you guys. Well, every Wednesday. Every Wednesday we do these live here on Twitch, and then this is an upload on YouTube the following day, so Thursday. So tomorrow, about this time, this show will be getting over.
Yep.
It'll be exactly the same, just 24 hours later. So, but hey, thank you everybody for hanging out. Thank you. We got some new followers tonight. I think I saw. Thanks for following me on Twitch here. And yeah, Kurt.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you again. Thank you. And
these
we will
shows are
see you
growing,
guys.
Johnny. I think I saw 27 was the peak.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's cool.
Sometimes we think there's going to be 5 people on here.
Yeah. Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good. So hey, thank you everybody for watching, and the next time we see you guys, technically, will be Friday for the Friday Van Halen show, exclusively Van Halen. So look for that. And all right. Oh, again, Tone Chaser book down there on Facebook. Go like the page. Leave Steve comments. Leave him questions. That's where you can order the book. Everything is right there. Facebook.com/ToneChaserBook.
Great Father's Day present if it's coming in June.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time. Johnny Beane TV. Bye.